Besides sourdough bread, I think my most requested like step-by-step guide is how to make croissants at home. So that's what I'm gonna do today. It's gonna be a lot easier than you guys expect. So just hang tight with me and let's get to it. Listen, if you guys thought I was gonna need this by hand, you must be lying. We're gonna do this in the stand mixer with the hook attachment. If you watch my brioche donuts recipe video, I said how that thing is literally going to be your best friend when baking in the kitchen, and I hold to that. So let's go attach the hook. This is the hook. I think it comes with like most stand mixers like already in the package, but if not, I'm sure you can find one cheap off Amazon. So this may feel a little wrong, but we're not gonna bloom our yeast. We're going to add 1.5 cups of cool water, but you can use warm water. You can literally use whatever water. Never use hot water though. 2.5 teaspoons of active dry yeast. You don't want to use instant yeast because instant yeast is it's mainly for when you're making bread the same day. Active dry yeast is great for when you're making like overnight breads. And then a 1/4 cup of sugar. And we're going to add 4 cups of all-purpose flour. You could use bread flour. And then 2 teaspoons of fine baking salt. We're just gonna mix this until the flour is incorporated on a very low speed. Flour is fully absorbed. We're going to add in our 2 tablespoons of softened butter. You need your dough for about like 5 to 6 minutes until it's nice and smooth and it's like bouncy and pliable. A key teller though is if it starts to pull away from your stand mixer bowl. We're gonna cover it and let it rise for about 30 minutes. Now that we've allowed our dough to rest for 30 minutes, we're going to transfer it out into some saran wrap and press it. I'm gonna wet my hands for this because it is a stickier dough, and we're gonna press it to a 1/2 inch thick rectangle. Just gonna wrap it up tightly and store it in the fridge for 4 hours to overnight. It's genuinely been 4 hours later. I got my butter. Oh, a tidbit on the butter is you want to use a European style butter, so one that's higher in fat content. If it's lower in fat content, that means it has like more water to it, and it has the probability of breaking up if not like pounded well during the lamination process. So I go with like Kerrygold, Organic Valley also has good, there's a lot of European butters that you can find. So we're gonna take our parchment paper, I crinkled it so it'll be easier to fold, and we're gonna use a measuring tape to create this like 8 by 10 rectangle. And come here, I'm just gonna show you guys. I'm just gonna fold our flaps in and flip this upside down a roll. Once you roll it out and it's nice and even, we're gonna put this in the fridge for 10 minutes while we roll out our dough that's been in the fridge for 4 hours. The trick is you do wanna work with a well-floured surface, but you don't want the flour to like stay in the dough when you're laminating it, which is kind of confusing now that I say it out loud, but I'm gonna explain it as we walk through it. We want to roll this out to 24 inches by 10 inches. Add our chilled butter slab so that the 2 10-inch sides match. You want to make sure that your butter is soft so that it can bend. And if you see it like glossy, almost like it's melting, put it back in the fridge to chill at any time. Do our first lamination, and I'm going to show you the process of laminating the dough. You're going to pound the dough one way, and then you're going to pound it the opposite way. And then we're going to roll in length to 24 inches. What I like to do is trim the very ends of them where it's like super uneven. See? So you have a nice even rectangle. And now we're going to fold it like a letter. So imagine that the center remains the same. We're going to fold one flap and then the second flap on top. And then we're going to put that in the fridge for 30 minutes. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes. So we're going to do our second round of lamination. I'm just going to dump this over. Perfect. Again, you want your surface to be super well floured. So we're going to do the pounding process. So we're going to gently pound one way, gently pound the other way. Do the same thing, but we're going to start rolling opposite to what we just pounded. And then again, rolling opposite. We just want to make sure that the butter is spreading evenly. So again, we're going to roll this out to a 24 by 10-inch rectangle. And then we're going to do the same exact process of folding it like a letter 3 different ways. And then we're going to put it in the fridge for 45 minutes to an hour. And then we're going to roll it out the same exact way one more time. In that time, we're going to shape our croissants as well. I just want to trim all the edges so that we have a nice even rectangle. Then we're going to alternate slicing even triangles. Then we're going to create a little slit in the bigger end, and we're going to gently pull the tip and then roll up tightly. We're going to place them on our parchment lined baking pan to rise about like 2 to 4 hours. It is going to depend on like the warmth of your kitchen, but we want them super jiggly and doubled in size. And then we're going to brush them with an egg wash, and then we're going to bake them. Okay, yes, it is the next day, but listen guys, when it is the same day that you bake them, you want your croissants to cool at least an hour. With like any form of bread baking, you want them to you want your bread to fully cool because it's still baking as it cools. But look how flaky they turned out. I'm just so excited, and I think it's time we slice into one. Just like that, you have made a perfect croissant at home. It's so scary when you slice into the croissants, like every time I make it, even though I made them like multiple times at this point, because there's always that chance it could turn into like a crescent roll, where like if a key tip to it not turning the crescent roll, which I don't think I've told y'all yet, is to make sure your dough and your butter are cold at all times. You want them to be at the same temperature of coldness. And by that, I mean the dough should not be super sticky. It should be firm. The butter should not be glossy, or like, even if it looks like it's like slightly melting or warm, put it back in the freezer. Don't even roll it out. Because where it becomes a crescent roll versus a croissant is when that butter has been fully absorbed by the dough, not the flour, by the dough. We want the butter to like stay in those laminated layers. So it should be like dough, butter, instead of all in one piece, which is a crescent roll. I hope that makes sense. But now you're ready to enjoy your own croissants at home. You can enjoy them with jam, with butter. You can make panna chocolate croissants. I have those on my website, same exact method. You just slice them into long rectangles and then roll them up with bars of chocolate. And now it's time to try them. You just gotta try it yourself. You guys are gonna rock this. And let me know what we should do next. Bye guys.